All right, let's jump to value dogs. John, last week, value dogs, or underdogs against the spread, they go 8-8. They actually have a relatively fine week. Brings their total average on the season up to 46.2%. So
how do we do, though? What about us? How do we do?
Here's where we're getting at. We kept pace. John goes 2-1. He brings himself to a whole 2-digit number. He gets to 10-14.
Hey, for the record, I've gone 2-1 for 3 straight weeks.
Yes.
Let's go.
A huge comeback for John. For those of you commenting on our Value Dogs posts on the YouTube Shorts, we love it. We appreciate your input, even though I'm doing so horribly and people are roasting me for it.
As they ought.
I went 1-2 last week. I have fallen from grace at the top of the leaderboard to 8-16. This is my chance for a comeback, though. John, you get the first pick. I have 3 picks. I'm not diverting. If you pick all 3 are the same as me, I'm just leaving them there. I'm not going to change my picks in any way because I'm so confident. But you have the first one.
You're giving me the first pick of the week. Okay, all right, I'm ready. With my first pick, I am leaning on previous experience. There are a couple great lines this week. I think the most important stat we've seen so far this year is that low dogs are not doing good. If it's 1.5, take the favorite. But big dogs are doing really, really well. If you're getting teams over 7 points, they're doing well this season. With that in mind, I am taking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers +9 against the Kansas City Chiefs. This is an offense that is definitely going to miss Chris Godwin. Baker Mayfield is really limited to who he can throw the ball to. But this team does not lose big, man. They do not lose big. They go down big sometimes, but then they come all the way back right up to the end. This team loves to win games and lose games by 3 to 7 points. Kansas City is really good. The refs are on their side. They don't lose games. Their defense is excellent. I anticipate a Kansas City win. 9 points is a lot. It gives Baker Mayfield a lot of leeway, and he has been just awesome, moving the ball up and down the field and scoring in the red zone. So give me Tampa Bay +9. Love the points.
I can respect that. I avoided it purely because the Buccaneers don't have a primary receiver at this point. Their primary receiver is McMillan, who was playing for UW a season ago. So
Mike Evans might be back next week. Is he definitely out?
I don't know. He's on my fantasy team and is not projected to have any points. So I'm assuming that he's not playing.
Maybe unlikely. That's a very good point because they could be down their 2 best receivers. I'm expecting Godwin out. I thought Mike Evans might play.
Yes. So that's one of my concerns. The other one is that the Buccaneers have one of the worst defenses in the NFL, and the Chiefs have been underperforming offensively, but this could be their game where they score 45 points. Like this Buccaneers defense is not very good. So it would surprise me if they're able to keep up. And if the Chiefs struggle to score, that's where the Buccaneers could come into that 9-point range. With my first pick for this week, I feel like I'm taking what everybody is kind of like going against because of injuries and what's happened with this team. My first pick for the Sound Up Seattle NFL Value Dogs, was it week 9?
Week 9.
I am taking the Texans +1.5 against the Jets. I know Stephon Diggs is down with an ACL and out for the season. I know Nico Collins is not supposed to play. But listen, the Jets are 2-6. The Jets are not good. They're the Jets. And the Texans still have Joe Mixon. They still have Tank Dell. They still have a great pass rush against a 40-year-old geriatric man. So I'm thinking that the Texans have a better chance than they're being given credit for. They should be favored in this game. Even with their injuries, I still think they should be favored in this game. I'm taking the plus points.
Yeah, man, this is an awesome week for underdogs. There are a lot of games I like. This is one of them that I liked. I'm not taking it, but I really like. Jets are crumbling before our eyes. You're looking at a division leader and a team that's tied for last in their division. How are the Texans +1.5? It's crazy the way the betting markets favor Rodgers and this Jets team. They're not good, man. You don't get to 2-5 when you're good. They're just not good. And Texans are good. Their defense is going to put pressure on Rodgers. He's going to make some bad decisions. And I know that C.J. Stroud is now down not just his best, but probably his second best receiver as well. I love that we're just sticking with the trend of picking the dogs missing their two best receivers.
Consistency is key.
I think that the Texans at +1.5 is an excellent pick. I'm going to let you have it all to yourself, though, because I'm not greedy.
What a guy.
Instead, I'm going to go all the way back to my other strategy. What did I say? Give me big dogs. I want big dogs. With that in mind, I'm taking the Denver Broncos +9.5 against the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the easy argument against is that Denver, even though they're on a nice win streak, have been beating bad teams, and that Baltimore is going to be furious after losing that game to the Cleveland Browns last week, and that they're just going to take all their anger out on Denver. Here's the counter. Denver's defense has low-key been one of the best defenses in the NFL. They've been highly successful at every level at preventing the run, at stopping the intermediate pass, and preventing big plays. They have been really, really good, setting our least favorite quarterback, Bo Nix, up for real success. He's been put in winning situations again and again and again by this defense. Their offense, by the way, Denver, has been very solid. Bo Nix is doing Oregon Bo Nix things. He's limiting mistakes, he's making some plays with his legs, and he's making easy throws. When you have a defense this good, that has been good enough to turn into, 3 straight wins for the Denver Broncos? I don't think they're world beaters. I would be surprised if they beat Baltimore. 9.5 is a ton of points for a team that's on a 3-game win streak going up against a Baltimore team that just showed that anybody can throw against them.
Yeah, I think my problem with this is the reasoning you laid out before or early on, where the Ravens need this win badly, and I think they want it for their own motivations. Like, they just need to kill a team because they have yet to really do that and prove it this season. And this Broncos team is kind of primed for that to happen. Like, they just will not be able to keep up offensively with the Ravens. So that's why I stayed away. But I fully understand your points, and I can support the pick. I will be rooting for the pick because anytime the Broncos can be within 9 points, I feel like is an easy game. Or should be an easy get value-wise. It's
a lot of points, man. At the end of the day, it's a lot of points.
Yes.
I would be thinking about this at like 6.5. The fact that we get it at 9.5 is excellent.
Yeah. All right. With my second pick for our Week 9 value dogs, I am going to take... God, it's a battle of two awful teams. I'm going to take the New England Patriots +3.5 against the Titans. Listen, I said it 2 weeks ago. I said I was not taking bad teams against each other. It's just a crapshoot every time. But listen, the Patriots can at least move the ball. Drake May has looked very solid in all of his passing for the Patriots. He hasn't started every game. I think he had his first start last week and was concussed pretty quickly into that game. But I think he'll be back. And this Titans team, just every time I look at them, they are doing awful things in the field. It's just they kept pace with the Lions for approximately 6 minutes in last week, and then proceeded to lose 52-14. It's just I don't believe in this Titans team at all. And the Patriots +3.5 after they just beat what people have been talking about as a good Jets team makes me excited to have 3.5 points because that gives me a field goal.
Man, I love this line. Another excellent line that I was looking at. My main thing is these teams are like mirrors of each other. You've got two really solid defenses. Both teams very solid, above 15th in the NFL in defense, both these teams. Backed up by offenses that are pathetic, headed up by quarterbacks that, when you're looking at the Titans, Will Levis, he makes way more bad decisions than he makes good decisions. You look at Jacoby Brissett, it's a guy that doesn't make decisions. He throws balls out of bounds. He's a professional throwing balls out of play guy. And if Drake May plays, so even that on its own, even if Jacoby's starting, those two teams are a wash. Why is one team favored by more than a field goal? If there's ever been a field goal game in my life, it's been this one. And if Drake May plays, they have the better quarterback. This is a team that, if Drake plays, should be favored over the Tennessee Titans. So, +3.5, I love. I think that's a great call.
Wow, this is a lot of compliments from John. I'm a little concerned.
This is great. Dude, bro, we're going 6-0 this week. I can feel it. The only reason I'm not jumping on either of your excellent picks is that you left me the 3 best picks in the draft. I got both of my +9 or more. Now I'm taking the Chicago Bears +1 at the Arizona Cardinals. this Bears team is for real, man. Don't be upset because they lost on a Hail Mary against the team that's leading the NFC East. Don't be upset about that. This Bears team is 4-3. They should be 5-2. They're +1 playing a team with the worst defense in professional football and an offense that is sometimes good. The Bears team is the team with a top 5 defense in professional football and an offense that is sometimes good. There's a difference between these two teams. I cannot understand for the life of me why the Bears are not favored to win this game. Their offense is basically the same as the Cardinals as far as I'm concerned. They have games where they look excellent and they have games where they look terrible. But the difference is the Bears defense is so good. People were freaking out about that game and obviously about the Hail Mary and how crazy that was. This Bears defense completely shut Jaden Daniels down. Nobody all season has been able to shut this kid down. The Bears defense had held him to, 13 points or so before he hit a crazy 50-yard tipped Hail Mary into the end zone. I understand it was stupid. I understand they made mistakes. This defense is for real. This is such an easy line. Liquidate your savings, people. Do it. Pull your kid out of college. Take their tuition money. You'll pay for an extra semester next year.
No, those are all great reasons. I saw this line, and the only thing that scared me about it was that Kyler Murray is just feels a little bit more slippery than Jane Daniels. But you're totally right. The Bears were able to contain Jane Daniels last week, and the only reason they lost was the Hail Mary. I will say the Bears offensively looked pretty abysmal. The only reason they were able to score was because DeAndre Swift had the 56-yard touchdown. And then they kind of got one a little bit in not necessarily garbage time, but in the last 2 minutes to save the game.
The first half was atrocious offensively for the Bears. Yeah.
And they've been struggling, I think, for the last couple of weeks offensively. So I think that's why there's some concern here. Like they weren't favored last week either. So we'll see. But I love the line. I think this is a great one to pick. And I could definitely see the Bears winning this game.
Quick to address that point. You're 100% right. Any team with any semblance of a pass rush makes this Bears offense look bad because their offensive line is so bad.
Yes.
Arizona has no pass rush.
Nah, totally fair.
Caleb Williams will not be hurried by this Arizona team. That's it.
Totally fair. With my third, this is the last pick of the Value Dogs, isn't it? We didn't even overlap. I said I wasn't going to divert.
This is amazing. It's been so complimentary too. We're both just doing a great job over here, you and I.
It's a big Value Dog week, honestly. Underdogs are huge. With my third and final pick of the Week 9 Sound of Seattle Value Dogs, I am going to take John's Indianapolis Colts again, +5 against the Minnesota Vikings. I just mentioned it when we were talking about kind of the NFC playoffs and those kind of standings, but the Vikings got a little bit exposed, I think, against the Rams last week, and the Colts just benched Anthony Richardson for Joe Flacco, which I don't know if you're excited about. We haven't really talked about it yet.
Daddy Joe.
But I think they're going to be able to run the ball. Jonathan Taylor's, I think, back and supposed to play. Joe Flacco is so much more consistent as a quarterback. He just makes better decisions and is able to get... Anthony Richardson has a 44% completion rate. Like he can't get the ball to receivers. So I like this Colts team, and they were able to hang within 5 for the 5.5 against the Texans last week. And I kind of equate the Texans and the Vikings right now, but the Vikings just lost their left tackle, like I said. So I think it's going to be a tougher game for the Vikings and a tough stretch for the Vikings after a hot start. So I'm excited for this Colts line.
You know, that's fair. This line still makes me nervous. I think the Vikings are a much better team, but Joe Flacco is a way better quarterback than Anthony Richardson. And to answer your question, as a Colts fan, I think I'm glad on this for both ways. One, I want to see the most competitive team play, and that is absolutely without question when Joe Flacco is our quarterback. And two, I'm not sure what these NFL teams are about when they say we need to give these guys all the reps they can handle right now. Jordan Love is benefiting from having not been thrown into the fire as a wee babe and having a chance to grow. Anthony Richardson has shown us he is not ready for that fire. You brought him in the first place because he is like all raw talent and skills that you need to refine. Why don't we take a year to refine that? You know, he obviously needs it. So I think this is a great call. It should be Joe the rest of the year, as far as I'm concerned. And he makes their offense way more deadly. Their defense has been playing way better in recent weeks. This is a sneaky line. It still scares me because one team, in my opinion, is obviously better than the other. But this is the kind of game where it's like, oh, Colts win by 1? Huh, that was kind of weird, but you're not surprised. You're getting 5.5 points. You said 5, I'm getting 5.5 here on my line. That's a lot of points for the Colts, so I respect that.
Yeah. All right, I think that's it for the Value Dogs. Big week. I think we're both feeling very confident, and I like that John has jumped on the big lines. I feel like I have talked about it the last couple of times we talked about success in value, and I diverted.
We got 2 teams between the Broncos and the Bucks. These are 2 teams that are at or above 500, getting 9.5 point lines. That's crazy.
Yeah. No, it's a weird week value dog wise. So I'm
excited.
We're
going 5-1 this week. We're going 5-1.
So
make the 6-leg parlay. I can't tell you who's going to lose. Make the 6-leg parlay and be so amazed how close you were to a really, really big win when you go 5-1.
Love it.